Okay, so this is my review of The Undoing finale, The Bloody Truth. Like the whole series, it's directed by Suzanne Bier and written by David E. Kelley. So this was the first episode that press was not sent advanced screeners for. So I watched this live, just like you guys did tonight, and I jumped on now. I was excited to do my review. I have a lot of feelings on this. And before I jump into my final review for the show, as I said at the end of my videos, I want to just say at the top here, it helps me in so many ways if you subscribe. You have no idea. And if you want to go the extra mile, I have a PayPal link down below. It's for $2 a month. And if you donate, it makes it that much closer to make it a reality for me to do this full time and make more videos for you guys, and then I could cover more shows. So now that it's out of the way, this is a show that it's gonna suffer a bit in the way, without spoiling it, True Detective Season 3 kind of suffers in the way it kind of comes with a more simplistic, obvious answer to all our crazy theories. And in the time of Reddit, in the time of people on the internet, everyone's got an opinion, everyone's got a theory, including myself. When you go with the answer of who the actual person is that's being accused, and it's just like, oh, it's this person, it's gonna feel like a letdown to most people. It almost makes you start feeling like there was some better endings written on Reddit because of all the work people put in, excitement they put into a show like this. And that's what I think is gonna really burn this show and how it ended. Because in the time we're in now, that's what an audience that's high intellect that watches a show like this with your guys' great comments expects to get a high intellect ending. This is more of a gotcha ending in the sense of we threw you all these curveballs, but it ends up that it actually is just right down the middle, the answer. But that doesn't mean all bad here, because thematically, if I'm looking at it as a season, I think it really worked and it wrapped well here thematically, in particular with Grace and what the show's trying to say, right? Like I always talk about, what is it trying to say? And that was planted in the first episode with her patients, what she was projecting onto them about being in denial about who you're married to and wanting them to be really what they're not. And by the end of this episode, by the end of this season, we see Grace's character comes full circle and comes out of denial. The big twist being that she basically throws Jonathan under the bus here, faces the truth of what her fears have always been about him, accepts it, does what she really believes is best for her son Henry, and then they walk off the bridge together. Now, how this was presented is a whole different story. What frustrates me is it feels like when I'm talking about curveballs with this show, I think a lot of curves were coming from introductions of characters that got a lot of screen time. In particular, Franklin, Detective Mendoza, and not as much screen time, but a lot here was Sylvia. And Sylvia feels really in this point of, oh, we clearly see she's exactly in this show for the purpose of the finale, to be the person that Grace uses behind the scenes to pull her big card here and the twist to be revealed, which annoys me a bit. I don't think it was cleverly introduced to us how she went about this with Sylvia, because I just felt it disconnected from everything else we know about Sylvia in the beginning, about her just even involvement with Jonathan and being his lawyer at one point. Seems like a cheat was just pulled in here now for her to be the one to go to Stamper and tell her everything that Grace knew about Jonathan and use it against him. And things start to get silly really quick in this finale. I got worried just from how they show the hammer now that it was found just chilling outside on the outdoor fireplace. We're seeing so much through the court that even the defense lawyer was saying that Jonathan is a smart guy. He's just a psychopath, right? He's not stupid. He's this acclaimed doctor, but this acclaimed doctor leaves a hammer out in the middle of plain sight at his own beach house that he visits. Come on now. And that led to silly parts too, where Haley, I felt it was so out of character, where she just yells at him and says, "Great job hiding the hammer." Like she totally knew he did this. That was so strange to me. We know Haley's looking out for her own neck and doing the job she best can, but that kind of really villainized her in a way over the top, where I was like, what? So she did know he did this and still yelling at him for not hiding the hammer? That was crazy, unless I'm misreading that. And then when Jonathan Haley's last card here is to turn it now on Fernando full on by using Miguel, it toys with us as the audience, fine, but it quickly flips itself, and it felt like so much happened in this episode where it was like overwhelming, and it took it out of just a nice pace and flow to a courtroom drama, that maybe some of this should have already started brewing last episode that felt a little slow in the courtroom. And what I'm talking about where it gets a little comical here is Fernando's reaction, right? When he's thrown under the bus again, he just yells in at everybody on the other team, and then they shut the door, and then he just gets pulled away, and that's it. That's all we get for Fernando here. And then when I'm talking about these side characters, it just feels like they just became completely irrelevant, is Franklin, Fernando, Detective Mendoza, and Sylvia. Because there was just such more interesting things you thought were coming with this, especially with how Franklin even had like a full episode dedicated to him and then threatening this school principal. And then you look back at it and you're like, well, what the hell was the point of all that? It feels like they were just conning us to con us a lot of times without it all tying as a perfect web to the theme of this show. I don't think all scenes were feeding to this story about a woman, Grace, who is coming to terms with reality of who her husband really is, this monster. But when I had predicted that when she was having these visions of Elena, that she was imagining herself, and I thought Grace was the killer in these moments, it turns out she was just imagining, oh my God, is my husband capable of this? Which I think is way less interesting. That's not me biasly saying it either. I'm not mad that my theory was wrong. I'm annoyed that having it be Jonathan, you can't tell me you weren't a little let down when they revealed the scene where it's like, oh yeah, he did what everyone thought he did, and he hit her with the hammer. And even the scene when he's fighting with Elena, a woman he loved, he's mad at her obviously because she wants to get closer to his family, but that felt like we didn't even get enough time with Elena to earn her total motivation for that. And Jonathan's rage and them to sell us him snapping here, I don't think it was enough of something that would escalate him to do that. It was silly to me. And it annoys me now because 2 episodes ago, we end the episode where she gets information from Jonathan's mother about what he's truly like and how he didn't feel remorse about his sister. And it feels like they gave us that info as the audience watching so we would know. And they were just holding it until everyone else could figure it out when Grace spills the beans to Sylvia, which Sylvia spills it to Stamper. That, to me, just felt why it felt like such a letdown of a reveal. Maybe they even gave us too much in this conversation with the mother originally. That when you're hearing Grace say this to the court, the shock is she's telling everyone, but as it goes on, you're just like, okay, but I know this. So I'm not feeling that shock maybe as an audience member you want to feel there. It's not enough. Like, so many reveals here are just paint by the numbers. And when Jonathan, knows he's screwed, this is a melodrama, but you got to be careful where you're going too far with it and you just become cheesy Lifetime movie, Hallmark Channel stuff. And my God, did we need this chase scene? And I just started laughing when we see Nicole Kidman in the helicopter. I was like, oh my God, this is like some corny ending you'd see in so many just 90s movies. And when she's running on the bridge towards him and she's like, Henry! Like, oh my God, what the hell was that? But in these moments I found cheesy and corny and maybe even off tone with the rest of the show. Again, I'm going to give it its props for it still works thematically in a sense when she's walking away on the bridge with Henry and he's able to turn his back to this guy and that she's come full circle, like I said, facing who this man really is. That works, that was earned. But so many twists and turns and personalities we met really didn't have much to say in the end. It didn't really add much to it. It kind of started episode 1 with this Grace conflict, thinking if her husband did this or not, and it ended with that. And everything else was just noise. Now, the finale, though, was entertaining, like the whole show's been. I enjoyed it. It wasn't boring. They gave you answers, but it was a letdown for me. I was still holding out hope, too. I know, again, that I'm saying I'm not biased, but yeah, I am biased, because I really would have loved, they say that Vegas has made a call that, okay, they're taking this case off the books, right? Because it's clearly Jonathan. I thought they were going to have one little twist there at the end because you realize there's still 15 minutes left in this episode. But no, they just set it up for 15 minutes of a car chase that was totally unnecessary. And I thought they were going to do something where Jonathan goes down for this and then we get a little twisty reveal that it was Grace who showed up that night or someone or something that connected more to get people like, wow, that got me, or that was crazy. I'm not going to spoil another show, Sharp Objects, which I love. But that's an example that has a great twisty ending like that gets you on almost like a double twist. Where here it was just, again, paint by the numbers. But overall, I'm going to give this finale a 7.8. It is the lowest of the episodes, and it's disappointing because I really enjoyed this show. It's going to bring the overall season score down for me, where I thought this was going to land in the 9s, like most of my episodes do. But it will probably, because of a poor finale, to me, will drop down to about an 8.2 as a whole for the season. But I still give credit to I really enjoyed the ride, and not all shows stick the landings, not all stories stick the landings. This, to me, did not. But I give it props for the theme sticking through. Great acting. I still enjoyed trying to figure out the mystery. They kept it interesting. They kept you hooked. It was a good pace most of the time. I'm giving it props as a show for that. I really did enjoy it. I just wish, for all the effort as fans and Reddit communities, the show treated it with a more updated answer and audience appeal to people who are using their brains really fast for stuff like this. Then give us something like that. That's my opinion. Let me know down now what you guys thought. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I've been enjoying all your comments. I read every comment and try to respond to as many as I can. As I said, please make sure to subscribe. I'm going to be doing a bunch of TV shows coming up, movies. I also do celebrity interviews, so you don't miss those. And please follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter and Instagram for more of me. And I'll see you next time.